I think that 1828 is an absolutely superb initiative. And I have to say, I think it's probably far more important than anyone or anything happening in the House of Commons right now. Making sure that we make the arguments for free trade afresh to a new generation is going to have an enormous influence. Whether we succeed or fail will have a far greater bearing on the future direction and happiness of this country than anything any of our MPs might come up with this week or next. The issue in front of us is Europe, is it at a crossroads? And I would say yes, Europe very much is at a crossroads. Before we decide which way we're going to head as a continent, as a people, as a culture, I think we need to take a step back and ask ourselves a couple of questions as to how we've got here, to where we are. I don't just mean stepping back a few decades, step back a few centuries, and ask ourselves a fundamental question. Beyond Brexit, beyond banking crises, ask the elemental question, why was it that Europe, basically just a rather obscure extension of the Eurasian landmass, why was it that Europe dominated world affairs for the best part of the past 500 years? What was it about Europe? Why was it that Europe was the place where or Northern Italy, the home of the Renaissance? Why was it that the Dutch in the 16th century had the world's first industrial revolution, followed a century or two later by the English? Why was it that Europe was the home of the scientific revolution? Why was it that the first societies in the world that managed to achieve a sustained increase in per capita income were European? Why was it that the first sustained fall in infant mortality was achieved by European societies? Why was it that the great artistic and cultural achievements of the world, I would say the pinnacle achievements of humankind, are largely European? Now, if you believe a lot of popular history, books written by people like Jared Diamond, you see the elevation of European societies as being due to external factors, environmental or ecology or the exploitation of other peoples. I would say not so. The reason for Europe's elevation, the reason why Europe has dominated human affairs is because unlike China, unlike India, unlike the Ottomans, Europe had no central authority capable of stifling human innovation. It was, to put it philosophically, Hayekian. It was in Europe that spontaneous order was able to emerge. There was no top-down design. Now, there were plenty of Europeans who tried to create a system of top-down design, what you might call a Cartesian model for Europe. The papacy tried it on several occasions. Post-Jacobin France tried it on several occasions. But Europe remained essentially Hayekian until the EU. And I would argue that the EU replaces the Hayekian nature of the European order with a Cartesian one and is a betrayal of Europe's exceptionalism. It shoots Europe in the foot. Look at the EU attempt to order Europe by design. It's got a currency created by experts that has created nothing but poverty and debt. It attempts to organize trade by design. So it's created a single market, which is a permission-based system. Since 1992, Europe's trade has grown much more slowly than the rest of the world. It creates uniform rules, a 35-hour working week, data rules, rules on GDPR, the belief that someone in Brussels knows what data can and cannot do in the future. It's created rules that have stifled innovation in clinical trials. It's killing Europe. It's killing European innovation. It's a disaster, I would say. The irony is at the very moment that the European continent is going all Cartesian, the rest of the world is going Hayekian. Now, those of you who are American know that you went Hayekian in 1776. China started going Hayekian in the 1980s. Why? Some people say it was the chaos of the Cultural Revolution. If you listen to the Communist Party today, they say it was a small group of brave farmers who decided to decollectivize their farm. Whatever makes them feel acceptable. The fact is China no longer tries to organize Chinese society economically by blueprint. India has gone Hayekian since the 1990s. I was in Dubai recently. They have a mosaic of different jurisdictions. Where I was meeting in an office, we were inside the financial zone, which meant that the laws of England and Wales applied. The world is going Hayekian. Now, for generations, the mantra of our ruling elites in every European country, France, Germany, Britain, Austria, the rest, was that European integration was the key to the strength and success and prosperity of Europe. Absolute twaddle. It's that integration that I would say is the cause of Eurosclerosis. Since 2009, and I finished with just these few thoughts. Since 2009, the output of China has grown by 139%, of India by 96%, even the US by a respectable 34%. The output of the Eurozone since 2009, down -2%. Not a single Eurozone university is now in the top 20. This is the continent that virtually invented the concept of the university. Where are Europe's Googles? Where are their Weibos, their Tencents, their Amazons, their Apples? The idea that somehow Euro regulators are going to set the initiative for the digital world economy, it's a bit like the Venetians believing that regulating, it's insane. Now, I'm being told that I have less than 1 minute, so I'll just simply say, what should Europe do about it? They need to overthrow their Cartesian elites, and they need to overthrow the deference to groups of experts knowing how to organize their affairs. They need, as Andrew said, they need a system of free trade, which is to give people in Europe the right to the freedom to buy and sell what they like. I would say that Europe needs to have a system of basic freedoms. You should have an absolute freedom on the European continent to work where you like. Not freedom of movement, but freedom to work where you like, and freedom to buy and to sell. If it's legal to buy and sell a product in Copenhagen or I'm trying to think of an Italian city beginning with a K, Cordoba, Spain, or Clacton. If it's legal to buy and sell it in one European country, it should be legal to buy and sell it in the rest. As for the rest of the European architecture and grand construction, I don't think we need it. Thank you.